What's up, guys? This is Crypto with James talking to you today about XRP, about RippleNet, about the ongoing court case with the SEC. Also, guys, I want to break down what that court case is likely to, or how it's likely to play out, combined with the fact that the SEC right now are under scrutiny and under the cosh after the FTX debacle. So we'll look at what potentially Ripple can hit, or XRP rather can hit, and the reasons behind that. But before I get into it, guys, if you're new to the channel, these are the first 26 coins that I spoke about when I made the channel. They're the first 26 coins I also owned when I made the channel, even though I was in the market for obviously 6 years prior, sorry. Had you put in just $100 into each of these coins when I released videos about them, and then you did everything wrong as an investor, you ignored them, you lived your life, you never acknowledged that you had any crypto, and you just got on with your day to day, had some breakfast, If you'd have done everything wrong, and just that $100 investment into each, $2,600 would have netted you a profit of about $8 grand. And that's still after 2 years of doing everything wrong. But if you'd have sold these coins last year like I did when the markets ramped up, $100 into each would have netted you a profit of 123 grand. 123 grand profit from a $2,600 investment. It's not bad. Now, as I said, I sold all these off. They're not the coins I own anymore. But if you want to see the coins I own, you can go to copymycrypto.com. There's a link above me. There's a clickable link in the description. On the site, I share my portfolio. I give the members real-time updates anytime I buy or sell a coin. I release videos on a daily basis talking about the markets. We have tutorials set up for beginners because we do have thousands of members and a lot of them have not invested in anything before. And then on top of that, guys, we have a huge history of success on both the site and the channel. We've had big wins on both, not least of which is Phantom. Phantom was a coin that I'd spoken about in 2020. I did a Udemy course. I've only made one ever. The title of the Udemy course was The Best Cryptocurrency Investment of 2020. And it was about Phantom when Phantom was half a cent. And if you put in $1 grand into Phantom when I did that, when I released that Udemy course, you'd have made 677 grand. If you'd have put in $2 grand, you'd have made 1.34 million. Obviously, Phantom was a big winner. That's a big success. But I'll find another Phantom. And when I do, I'm not going to do a Udemy course. I'm going to go onto my site. I'm going to tell my members about the coin. I'm going to tell them the gains I think it can have. And I'm going to tell them the percentage of my money that I'm putting into it. And they can choose to copy along. And if you want to do that, if you want to take the work out of your cryptocurrency investments for the year, then you can go over to the site. And remember, anything you read on the site, you can go to the YouTube channel and verify it all for yourself. And maybe I'll see you guys there. Right, XRP. So, currently priced at 36.4 cents or thereabouts. I do think with XRP, we might see a little rally up to 40 cents, but that's only if it closes above 37.2 or thereabouts. Hit heights of $3 in the 2018-2017 cycle. Then hit heights of sort of $1.80 in the previous bull cycle. And obviously there was a huge price suppression because of the SEC case. So look, XRP have something called RippleNet. RippleNet is what banks use. The benefit of XRP is fundamentally that RippleNet can perform transactions immensely fast and immensely cheap. And as a result, banks are using RippleNet. Bank of America has been working with Ripple for a long time. You've got PNC Bank. They joined Ripple in 2016 to improve their network speed. And they use the RippleNet service. Siam Commercial Bank in Thailand uses Ripple. You've got Santander Bank in USA. They use Ripple. You've got the Standard Chartered Bank of the UK. They partnered with Ripple. Qualix in Mexico, all these big banks. And they've added to this. I mean, I think this is quite an old article as well. And they've added to this. And obviously we've seen over the past year XRP really growing and Ripple growing their reach. They've been adding partnerships. We saw recently, just on Monday, the Flare token finally being airdropped and being tradable. Obviously, and it landed on the markets. Obviously, there was a huge airdrop, huge dump, as you would expect. But excuse me, Flare is, like I say, was a fairly big partnership in terms of strengthening the overall ecosystem of Ripple and XRP. And then we've got the sort of ongoing situation with the SEC. Excuse me. Now, I'll talk about the SEC situation in a sec. So, the XRP ledger is a scalable, sustainable blockchain with immensely high performance, very, very cheap, fraction of the cost of the international bank transfer, which is where banks are looking to save money, because that is one of the biggest outgoings banks have, along with obviously, land and energy and everything else. But that is a consistent cost that is passed on, that banks experience, and they also pass parts of that cost on to the user. So utilizing the RippleNet will save them a lot of money. We've seen, Ripple being mentioned alongside sort of Circle's payment solution, Coinbase's, I think, with regards to, from documents released by Goldman Sachs last year, saying that those three techs in particular have the opportunity to revolutionize sort of banking. And the fact that they're saying that bodes really, really well. I think it was either Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, or JP Morgan. I cannot remember which of the three now. But the fact that one of the strongest banks in America is talking about XRP and RippleNet with huge sort of adoration bodes really, really well. And then look, this Ripple SEC case has been dragging on, and we've got to look at it. And at the moment, the SEC is under massive scrutiny. The FTX situation is a mess. The SEC claimed that their approach for sort of regulation by enforcement, although they don't call it that, would protect investors. Obviously, that didn't work for FTX. And the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, the lovely Gary Gensler, claims that FTX, all of the digital crypto assets are out of compliance and their innovators need to come in and register. Although they've not published guidelines on how such registration would occur, which is always helpful, isn't it? Go do this, but you don't know how. Idiots. And Sheila Warren came out, who is the head of the Crypto Council for Innovation, and observed that the FTX case is not about crypto per se, but wrongdoers. Some SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, and his conspirators are being charged with fraud, wire fraud, theft, and money laundering. Crypto is subject to a variety of regulations and laws. In fact, there are multiple regulators which assert jurisdiction over crypto. The problem is that no one's got a clear plan of who's going to be the overseer of crypto. And the problem is Gensler's scapegoat the whole industry. The whole industry is dangerous. The whole industry is reckless. No, there's bad actors in every industry. But you've decided that a couple of bad actors are fine as well. He had meetings with Sam Bankman-Fried tons of times. They were going to get a regulatory pass before all the fraud of FTX and Alameda emerged under the SEC's nose. Then they have dragged on the Ripple situation. So they're under scrutiny for the FTX situation massively because they were going to get a regulatory pass. So Ripple now is still the biggest fighting ground in terms of crypto. However anyone wants to feel about centralization within Ripple is irrelevant. I'm very aware that Vitalik Buterin really doesn't like what XRP and Ripple is. However, it's fairly irrelevant. obviously he has a big influence, but fundamentally, when big banks around the world are already integrating Ripple during this case, which some have, the reality is that if this case closes on the side of XRP and Ripple, which is probable at this moment in time based on all the legal updates that we've been given, Ripple will bounce up. Now, long term, we don't know how high Ripple and how high XRP can actually go. And I'll go over sort of some of the updates of the trial, but there's 50 billion tokens. But if RippleNet and the XRP token is what fuels all payments for the majority, or some of the biggest banks globally, what can it hit? Could it be $500 billion? Could it hit $10 a coin? Possibly. If it's the thing that's saving all banks' money, if it's the thing that underpins the infrastructure of a number of banks, of course it could hit $10. I don't think that'll happen the moment that the case ends. I think that would happen in a bull cycle. But the moment the case ends, don't be surprised to see Ripple bang up to $1 or $1.50, pretty fast. Because a lot of people that have stayed on the sideline for XRP because of fear of the case going badly would jump in. So you do have to think about the amount of money that's waiting on the sideline that's interested in going into one of the strongest, one of the biggest market cap cryptos. So, as always, this case continues to drag on. So, the speculation regarding the possible case outcome, although a section of the crypto industry has cited that the ruling might favour Ripple. However, according to the United States Attorney Jeremy Hogan, both Ripple and SEC have an equal chance of winning the case. At the same time, a recent Twitter poll by pro-XRP lawyer John Deaton revealed that most of the community members favour settling the matter to just move on. Interestingly, the lawyer stressed that the SEC's possibility of going for a settlement is low. And furthermore, with both parties making final submissions, the crypto community is speculating on the possible judgment date. The matter, Phelan, the other lawyer, said that there's no settlement. Noted that if there's no settlement, the matter might be settled on or before March. And SEC is actually suing Ripple and its execs for selling unregistered securities in the form of XRP tokens. Notably, the case has dragged on entering its third year. And the reality is there's too many things. Me personally, I can see Ripple winning the case. Because I think from everything I've read with regards to the notes about the former chair or chairman of the SEC talking about partnering effectively with Ethereum's foundation. Effectively in his speech notes and in his actual email correspondence, he noted that, look, Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't securities, and Ethereum went under the same pattern of sort of money raising and everything else that Ripple did. Obviously, Ripple did it to a larger scale, but there's no. And also with the Howey test, I'm not sure if they can. I'm not sure that they can prove that XRP fits the Howey test. I'm not sure that they can prove that any crypto fits the Howey test. So we're in a really interesting situation. But this case is going to close, and it should close this year. And if it does, I mean, to be honest, even if Ripple lost the case, I still think that the coin would rally. Because it would just be, thank God, we're done. It just won't rally as much. But if Ripple win the case, then it rallies a lot. But long term, I think once this case is done, it rallies. I think long term, I think the price suppression it experienced in the past bull cycle will not be experienced in the future one. Because this case should be done and they should be able to bring a second case to it. there's an interesting one. And in terms of price speculation, Ripple's kind of a hard one. XRP is kind of a hard one because if it does end up underpinning the infrastructure for the American banks, which looks highly likely, you know, and their throughput is millions of international transfers a day in a week, then XRP has immense value because it's fueling, like the token has to fuel the RippleNet transaction system. So could it hit $10? Feasibly it could, because that would, yes, it would be 500 billion market cap, which is insanely large, but you'd be looking at that around the time when, again, when you've got Bitcoin at possibly 100 grand, you've got Ethereum at possibly, 10 grand. So they'd have $1 trillion market caps each. Bitcoin would have 1.8, 1.9 trillion. You'd have Ethereum at like 1.2, 1.3 trillion. So XRP, 500 billion, doesn't seem as outlandish as it sounds right now. But we'll see. But I think a rally is going to be fairly imminent or pretty immediate once the case ends. But what do you guys think? And do you think they'll win? Let me know. Do you think they'll win the case? I'm curious to see what everyone's perspective is. And guys, if you want to see the coins I own right now, if you want to see my current portfolio, go to copymycrypto.com. There I share my portfolio. I give all the members real-time updates anytime I buy or sell a coin. I release videos on a daily basis talking about the markets. Tutorials are set up for the members to get started into crypto because we have thousands and a lot of them haven't invested. And we have a history of success on both the channel and the site, not least of which is obviously Phantom, which went up 677 times. There isn't a crypto YouTuber in 2020 that spoke about Phantom. There isn't, except me. Phantom, when I did my Udemy course, I think I had a market cap of either 9 million or 18 million. Those are the two numbers stuck in my head. And a price of half a cent. And I was very confident it would 100x or more. And I'd said that in my Udemy course. And when I find another Phantom, and that's always the goal, is find those big gains, right? But I will find one, but I'm not going to do a Udemy course. I'm going to just go, this is the coin I think is the best for the next coming cycle. I'm putting in this percentage of my money and the members, and this is the amount of gains I think it can have. And the members can hear it, copy along, take the work out of it for their investing. And if you want to do that and you want to make your life easier and more streamlined in 2023, then go check the site out. And remember, anything that you read there can be verified in the YouTube channel's history. And maybe I'll see you there, guys. Take it easy. Bye-bye.